Monday Night Raw on that road to WrestleMania. We are 68 days away since I'm filming on Monday, and boy did we have a Monday Night Raw to discuss. Whether it was Edge kind of declaring he might be going to the blue brand, Sheamus finally turning heel, a women's tag team match we definitely did not need, and well, matches that we've seen 700 million times, but definitely decided we need them anyway. And even though we got Damian Priest to debut, it kind of scares me that Bad Bunny might be wrestling at WrestleMania. All that and more on this episode of Kimmy Talks Wrestling as we dissect the February 1st episode of Monday Night Raw, and we are starting right now. Welcome back to my dorm room, guys. We're back. Woo! So, we've said for weeks now that we are hoping that Monday Night Raw gets back on track. We've discussed at the end of 2020 and even throughout the whole month of January that Raw has kind of sucked. And by kind of, I mean definitely. And well, although we didn't have a terrible Raw, we had a decent Raw, there is some things that we have to talk about that weren't that good. But before we get to the bad stuff, we'll focus on the good, which was our opening segment with Drew McIntyre. So excited after he successfully defeated Goldberg and he praises Edge for winning the Royal Rumble. Edge comes out and he makes a great point. Now Edge is a viable threat to Drew. He could go the Raw route and go with Drew. He could go over to SmackDown with Roman. He could technically go down to NXT and versus Balor. But you know, that won't happen. And Edge is like, why are you giving me compliments? You know, like, I'm not making my decision right now. I'm going to wait, but trust me, you'll know when I make my decision. Sheamus comes out and Sheamus is talking, because, you know, he has to talk, discussing how, you know, discussing how Edge maybe didn't deserve to win the Royal Rumble and all that stuff. Edge leaves the ring and Drew McIntyre gets a bro kick because Sheamus has finally turned heel. We finally did it, guys. Oh my gosh. I've been looking forward to this probably for about a couple months now. Keith Lee, you were right. And I'm really excited about this. I'm assuming that they're going to wrestle at the Elimination Chamber, which is at the end of February, because that is the next WWE pay-per-view. But even halfway through the show, Drew did an interview and he was crying, you know. 20 years of friendship threw all the way down the drain just for a WWE Championship opportunity, and Drew did challenge Sheamus. So I'm really looking forward to this. Some people predicting that's maybe the route we're going to go to Mania. I don't think so. I firmly believe it's going to be Edge and Drew, and I also believe it is firmly going to be Roman and Seth. But we'll see. We have a very long road to WrestleMania. But this was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Bad Bunny? Oof. So, Bad Bunny is not my cup of tea, I guess. Not my genre. So I don't really know who he is. I know he's a rapper. So if you saw last night, you know, he did, you know, jump off the top rope to attack Miz and Morrison. That did occur. But he was a guest on Miz TV, and Morrison and Miz are trying to, you know, get a record deal, you know, trading. And Miz goes, you know, I've trained superstars to live up to their potential. I made Daniel Bryan go from a B+ player to a WrestleMania main eventer. I can help you out so much. But we want like a record label to do an album. Not like their first two songs were any good, but okay. Bad Bunny replies, yes, being a WWE superstar has been my dream, but I'm only here because Damian Priest told me to be here. This then sets up a match between Damian Priest and The Miz, officially declaring Damian Priest's main roster debut, which was so freaking cool, especially because the rumor was he was going over to the blue brand, and obviously he's on the red. So I'm hoping that Rhea's going to make that jump to SmackDown, but I guess we'll see on Friday. And this match was really good. I very much enjoyed it. Damian obviously got the win. Bad Bunny did get involved. He was sitting next to the commentary table. Morrison kept on distracting the referee to try to get Miz to cheat. Miz tries to go for the Money in the Bank briefcase to hit Damian Priest. Bad Bunny takes it away, hits John Morrison with that microphone, and Damian Priest gets the win. I'm really hoping this does not lead to that tag match, because I feel like Damian Priest could definitely get a very good match at WrestleMania, maybe for a mid-card title, because Damian Priest is super talented and really good. But obviously, I don't write the show. I just give suggestions, and half the time they're wrong. But I guess this was okay. I just don't think, I feel like Damian could have entered Raw on his own premise, and he did not need a celebrity to be there. Guess if they have star power? I don't know. And talking about matches we've seen 100 million times. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Nikki has literally been off TV for, I believe, since she came to Raw, so this November, December, and she made her come back at the Rumble, which was really good. But against Alexa Bliss, we've seen this match so many times. We don't need to see it again. Nothing really came of it except this is the first time that Nikki and Alexa have wrestled with Alexa's powers. And Alexa did look really strong here. I really did enjoy the fact that she had her own little twist on Sister Abigail and made it kind of like a DDT type thing. But like I said, this match did not have to come again. I felt like Nikki could have wrestled somebody else, a Peyton Royce, a Lacey Evans, and we'll get to Lacey Evans in a second. But this really didn't do anything for me, and I guess it was just to lead to what happened in the main event with Alexa and Randy. But like I said, did not need to happen. And speaking of Edge and Randy, this was, as they quoted, the last time they are going to wrestle. Me and you both know this is not going to happen. My prediction still remains clear that I believe Drew is going to lose the title right before WrestleMania at Fastlane, which is in March. And it's going to be Orton versus Edge for that World Championship at WrestleMania, just like they wanted 365 days ago. But you did not need Edge and Orton tonight. You could have had Orton versus anybody else. Hell, you could have had Orton versus Damian Priest for all I care. You did not need this match. I felt like it did nothing for the feud. They only had 15 minutes and they were very much, I believe because the women's tag match did go overtime, they ran out of time. So they had to rush a lot of things. I know Edge was really holding his arm a lot last night. I'm hoping it's not re-injured and I believe it's just sore. But Edge really hasn't not competed in a real match, but hasn't been in a match in 6 or 7 months. So I get you're trying to make Edge look strong going into the Royal Rumble, but like I said, this was not necessarily a match that needed to happen. You could have had Orton versus anybody else on the roster. You have a very large roster. Or you could have had even Edge versus anybody else. But basically how the match ended, they were going back and forth, whatever. Orton's about to put Edge away. The music goes. They point to Alexa. Alexa has this black dripping stuff down her face. Of course, it scares the hell out of Orton. Edge hits the spear for that 3 count. Now I'm assuming that the Fiend is going to start hinting stuff as we get closer to Mania, probably end of February, maybe early March. But anybody else, you didn't need Edge because now this really ruined that they're going to do another match, in my opinion, because this is the worst match out of the 3 we've seen. And to really close it out, I'm going to talk about that Women's Tag Team Championship, number 1 contenders match, because this is a match that definitely did not need to happen. We saw Charlotte and Asuka versus Lana and Naomi versus Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Now, we have seen Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke get 700 million freaking opportunities at these titles, and they have lost and lost and lost and lost and lost and lost. Charlotte and Asuka, no way. I'm gonna get into why I think, I'm gonna get into Charlotte and Asuka thing. But the other thing for me especially is Naomi and Lana. To me, I don't know why Naomi's on Raw, especially when her husband and brother-in-law are on SmackDown. I'm assuming that because Jimmy's not on TV right now, Naomi's going to stay on Raw until we make that switch, but that's not going to make any sense. Woohoo! But basically how this match ended, of course, Charlotte got distracted, Ric Flair's music played, Lacey made her way down, and Charlotte walked out on Asuka, and Asuka was really upset, and Asuka got the pin. So now, this is what I'd like to happen. Obviously, this tag team match is we're 3 weeks away from the Chamber. It might happen next week on Raw, and I want, at Elimination Chamber, Naomi versus Asuka. I do not want Naomi and Lana to win the tag team championships whenever this match happens. I would love Naomi to take that Raw Women's Championship off of Asuka, because I feel like she could very much do something with the championships, where Asuka It's not very much doing anything at all. And if Charlotte walking out on Asuka leads to their match at WrestleMania, and this is going to be the start of that feud, I'm going to be so mad, because this is the stupidest way to build it. You could have done so many other things. But what do I know? I'm just a 19-year-old who pretends that they can write WWE, but they're really bad at it. Like we said in the beginning, this Raw was okay. It wasn't the best episode of Raw. It's definitely more decent than the last couple weeks. Carlito also showed up, and I would love Carlito to do kind of what MVP did last year, where he came back at the Rumble, and then, you know, look at where the Hurt Business is now. It's one of the main things on Monday Night Raw, which is crazy. So maybe Carlito's going to do that. Maybe he's not. I don't know. Make sure to like this video, comment about what you thought about Raw. Make sure to check out my Royal Rumble reviews. And make sure to check out my AEW Beach Break predictions on Facebook at Rob Williams. And it will also be posted on YouTube, I believe, sometime today at the Pop Culture Podcast. And maybe I got shamed, maybe I don't, but I have some very interesting predictions, especially about that wedding. This week we have a very busy week. I'll see you guys on Wednesday for our AEW Dynamite review. What's going to happen with this wedding? Crash? Orange Cassidy coming out of the cake? I don't really know. Bye guys.